So we will discuss magnetic properties of materials. So the magnetic properties of the materials means on the basis of their magnetization properties, magnetic materials are classified into three types. First one, diamagnetic. Second one, paramagnetic. Third one, ferromagnetic. Substances. The chi value for diamagnetic is less than 0. Paramagnetic is greater than 0 but small scale. This is ferromagnetic, chi value is greater than 0 or greater than 1, large. So what are the examples? How to create the diamagnetic substances? What are the examples? We are going to discuss one by one and their uses also. First one is diamagnetic substances. The magnetic behavior of these diamagnetic substances is called diamagnetism. What is the meaning of diamagnetism? There are some magnetic materials which are called as diamagnetic substances. They have the tendency to travel from strong magnetic fields to the weak magnetic fields. That means, first of all, they won't respond for the applied magnetic fields. They have the tendency to travel from higher magnetic fields to low magnetic fields or weak magnetic fields. Higher magnetic fields to weaker magnetic fields or weak magnetic fields. So this is the first important point to observe the diamagnetic behavior of the substances. That means if this is the diamagnetic substance, the magnetic field lines always expels out like this. Expels out. There is no possibility to stay or to withstand a magnetic field inside the diamagnetic substance. The one more nature of this diamagnetic substance is diamagnetic substances are repelled by the magnets and magnet also repelled by the diamagnetic substances. That means magnet and diamagnetic substance both will repel each other. Magnet, diamagnetic substance. Both will repel each other. So like this, if this is the magnet, if this is the diamagnetic, they both will repel each other. So consequently, a large separation between the diamagnetic and magnetic materials. So the diamagnetic behavior is due to the alignment of the magnetic domains. Yeah. The alignment of the magnetic domains means in atomic structure we know that the electrons which are revolving around in the orbitals, they have the orbital momentum and magnetic momentum also. The revolving electrons has the orbital momentum. And magnetic momentum also. Suppose if these electrons which are placed in the domains, when they expose to the magnetic fields, if these domains are placed in the diamagnetic behavior, diamagnetic substances, the electrons which are moving in the same direction and the electrons moving in the opposite direction, these two types of electrons will be there in case of the atomic structure for any material, or it is metal or non-metal. So when you first or when this diamagnetic substance is exposed to a magnetic field, the motion of the electrons which are in the same direction will be slowed down because of the applied magnetic field, and the motion of the electrons which are moving in the opposite direction speeds up, slows down, speeds up. So what we can understand this slowdown and speeds up because of the Lenz law also. So in Lenz law, when we applied a magnetic field near to the current carrying conductor or a simply insulated conductor, then the motion of the electrons which are at the rest are fasted up, the motion of the protons or the positive charge carriers are slows down. That's why there is a possibility for the net change in the magnetic flux and net change in the electric field also. Such like that, so the electrons which are moving in the same direction slows down, opposite direction speeds up. Because of that, the net magnetic momentum will be zero. That's why these diamagnetic behaviors are expelled out of the magnetic field. They won't be attracted by the applied magnetic fields. The examples of the diamagnetic substances are first one bismuth, second one copper, third one water, fourth one nitrogen at STP, nitrogen at STP, fifth one sodium chloride. These are all the examples of diamagnetic substances. The diamagnets are useful as superconductors also. So the best use of the diamagnetic properties of diamagnetic substances is superconductors. So superconductors are some metals when they cooled at extremely low temperature. Cool to low temperature, at those low temperatures it will act as a best conductor and best magnetic substances. These superconductors will repel by the magnet and magnets repel the superconductors. So as we discussed, the chi value is -1. Therefore, B is equal to -H. Next one is paramagnetism. So paramagnetic substances are exactly ulta to the diamagnetic behavior. In diamagnetism, the magnets which are diamagnet, they are repelled by the magnetic fields and travels from higher fields to the lower fields. But paramagnetic substances travel or tendency to move from weak fields to strong fields. This is the paramagnetic behavior. So this is paramagnetic material. Why it is happening actually? So as usually we know that there is a magnetic domain which contains the electrons. So there is a randomness. These are the domains in the paramagnetic materials. Means initially any atom which contains these type of domains. These are all domains. In the absence of external magnetic field which is not strong enough to align, then these domains are randomly oriented like this. So like this, we can write a domain like this. So net magnetization is 0. But when we applied a sufficient magnetic field or enough field to align these domains, then the alignment of the domain structure will be like this. So like this we can assume. This is non-alignment, this is alignment. This is alignment. So if the field is strong enough to attract the domain particles or domain electrons in a material, then if the field is non-uniform, then these paramagnetic materials will travel from weak fields to the strong fields. Weak fields to strong fields. So like this we can define the paramagnetic material. Initially, any material which contains electrons in their valence orbital is a diamagnet. Means there is no possibility for the magnetization until and unless if the field is not applied which is strong enough to align, then only they will convert to paramagnetic or ferromagnetic. But this process means a substance which is magnetized is called magnetization. This magnetization depends upon several factors. So the magnetization in paramagnetic material, this is the concept we should discuss about the paramagnetics. Magnetization in paramagnetic materials. The symbol of the magnetization is capital M. The magnetization in paramagnetic materials or magnetization of paramagnetic materials is inversely proportional to absolute temperature, directly proportional to external field. So we can write T is absolute temperature, D naught is external field. So we can write M is proportional to B naught by T So if you remove the m proportionality constant, it is replaced by c into b naught by t, where c is Curie's constant. So if magnetic field increases, external magnetic field increases, or temperature decreases, the magnetization will increase because it is proportional to this one and inversely proportional to this one. So if temperature decreases or magnetic field increases, this magnetization will reach a point called saturated magnetization. At that point, all the dipoles are strongly aligned in the same direction. So all magnetic dipoles aligns in the same direction. So that is the point of saturated point. So at that time the magnetization is called as MS, saturated magnetization, where C is Curie's constant. So like this we can understand the magnetization in paramagnetic materials. So this is the derivation part. So we know that M is equal to C into B naught by T. So we can write this M is equal to chi h, B naught is equal to mu naught h, because B naught is equal to mu naught Ni, where Ni is equal to h. So if we substitute these values, we can write chi h is equal to C into mu naught h by, so this h and h get cancelled, we can get chi is equal to C into mu naught by T. This is called Curie's law, which explains the paramagnetism with the help of chi value or susceptibility values. So what are the examples of the paramagnetic materials? Aluminum, calcium, oxygen, not at all temperatures, oxygen which is at STP, copper chloride, calcium chloride, so these are all the examples of paramagnetic substances. Not only these, many are there. These are the widely used and well-known examples to the human beings. That's why we can list out as a known ones. So this is the information about paramagnetic materials. So the next magnetic material is ferromagnets. Ferromagnetic materials. The characteristics which are exhibited by these materials is called ferromagnetism. Yeah, the alignment in the ferromagnetic materials is similar to the paramagnetic substances. So what is the definition of these materials? These materials have the tendency to move from weak fields to strong magnetic fields, not like in the paramagnetic. In paramagnetic, that is not strong, that is enough, means a moderate field where the paramagnets used to attract. But in case of ferromagnetic, they have the tendency to travel from weak to strong fields. These materials have the tendency to travel from weak fields to strong fields. This magnetic material has domains of size 1 millimeter In 1 millimeter, we can expect 10 power 11 atoms or electrons. So initially, the domain structure will be like this. Yeah, as usual, when mentioned in the paramagnetic, they used to align like this. So there is no regular order for domain to domain. So like this, the domain structures will be filled. So 1 millimeter is the size of the domain, contains 10 power 11 atoms. But these ferromagnetic materials, when an external field is applied, they used to align quickly in a short interval of time. Means all the domains will align in the same direction within a short interval of time. Strongly, means it won't take much time to align. The alignment in the ferromagnetic material is very, very short interval. Like this. In short interval of time, the alignment takes place. The domains which aligned for the applied external field B naught is called giant domains. Giant. So the domains which are aligned for the applied external field in case of ferromagnetic is called giant domains. These ferromagnetic materials are two types. First one is, in some ferromagnetic materials, suppose if we remove the external field, still some magnetization and magnetic effects persists. So they won't decreases their magnetic intensity to 0 in a short interval of time. Means if a external field is removed, still some magnetic behavior still persists in some ferromagnetic materials. Those ferromagnetic materials are called hard ferromagnets. Magnetization persists. Persists in the removal of field also. Example: iron, cobalt, aluminum, nickel. Cobalt, nickel, aluminum, etc. But some ferromagnetic materials, whenever you remove the external field, nothing but the B naught in terms, suddenly their magnetization will come to 0. Those ferromagnetic materials are called soft ferromagnetic materials. Soft ferromagnets. So here magnetization will be 0. Will be 0 in the removal of field. So what are the examples for the soft ferromagnets? The magnetic materials which are ferro, which are stated in the hard magnets, we can prepare that as a soft also. Soft iron core, which is useful in the transformer. So soft iron, gadolinium, soft nickel, etc., etc. These are all the examples of the soft ferromagnets. For this soft ferromagnets, the magnetic permeability or relative magnetic permeability is greater than 1000. Greater than 1000. So this is the nature and classification of the ferromagnets. Now we will see the temperature dependence of magnetization in ferromagnets. So for ferromagnets, there is a temperature dependence of the magnetization. Not like paramagnets. So in paramagnets, if T is increases, so M is going to decreases like that, not like this. In ferromagnetism, there is one temperature. If temperature goes on increasing, at high temperatures, these ferromagnetic materials will turn to paramagnetic behavior. At high temperatures, ferromagnetics or ferromagnets will convert to paramagnets. If this is the case, at which temperature it is taken place, that temperature is called transition temperature, above Curie's temperature. Yeah, this transition temperature is a temperature above Curie's temperature where a ferromagnetic material is converting to paramagnetic. It is a temperature at which a ferromagnet is converting to paramagnet. So susceptibility is going to change at high temperatures. This point is very, very important. So if you relate the transition temperature and Curie's temperature with respect to the susceptibility, it will be like this. Chi is equal to C by T minus Tc, where T greater than Tc. C is Curie's constant, T is transition temperature, Tc is Curie's temperature, where the transition temperature is greater than the Curie's temperature, where this behavior of ferromagnet converts to paramagnetic behavior. This is the one of the unique property for ferromagnets. One more unique property for the ferromagnet is magnetic retentivity or persistence of the magnetic field in the absence of external field. Like this, we can classify the magnetic materials and their examples. This is the problem which relates to the ferromagnetic materials. If you see, the content of the problem is a domain in the ferromagnetic iron is in the form of a cube of side length 1 micrometer. Estimate the number of iron atoms in the domain and the maximum possible dipole moment and magnetization of the domain. The molecular mass of iron is 55 grams per mole and its density is 7.9 gram per centimeter cube. Assume that each iron has dipole moment of 9.27 10 to the power of minus 24 am square. So this is a ferromagnetic material which is iron and its domain is in the shape of cube of side length 1 micrometer. So the solution of this problem is length is equal to 1 micrometer. So volume is equal to 1 micrometer whole cube. So 1 into 10 to the power of minus 6 meter whole cube. So it will be 10 to the power of minus 18 meter cube. But density is in centimeter cube. So if we convert the volume in terms of centimeter cube, it is very easy to calculate. That's why volume will be 10 to the power of minus 12 centimeter cube. First step was over. Next step is we should find out the mass of the domain. Density into volume, because density is equal to mass by volume, so mass is equal to density into volume. Density of each domain is 7.9 gram per centimeter cube. Volume is 10 power minus 12 centimeter cube. So per centimeter cube into centimeter cube will get cancelled out, so we will get mass 7.9 into 10 to the power of minus 12 grams. This is the mass. So if this is the case, per 1 mole 6.023 in 10 to the power of 23 atoms are present. So we should find out the number of atoms present in that domain. So number of atoms present in the domain, n is equal to, mass is this much, each mass 6.023 in 10 to the power of 23 particles by its total mass is 55 gram per mole. So that's for 7.9 into 10 to the power of minus 12 into 6.023 into 10 to the power of 23 whole divided by 55. So the number of atoms will be 8.65 into 10 to the power of 10 atoms. These many atoms are there in each domain, and each atom has a dipole moment this much, 9.27 10 to the power of minus 24 am square. So now we should find out the maximum magnetization. So therefore maximum magnetization we can write M max is equal to, so number of atoms is 8.65 into 10 to the power of 10 into the dipole momentum of each. So it will be 9.27 into 10 to the power of minus 24 am square. So we will get 8 into 10 to the power of minus 13 am square. This is the number of atoms into dipole moment of each. So we will get 8 into 10 to the power of minus 13 am square. Next we should find out this maximum magnetization, and next the maximum magnetization per unit volume. Per unit volume. The another name of this maximum magnetization per unit volume is called consequent magnetization. This is the another name, consequent magnetization. So consequent magnetization is equal to M max is 8 into 10 to the power of minus 13 am square. So for the volume it is 10 to the power of minus 18 meter cube. So this will go up, so it will be 8 will do 10 to the power of 5 This meter cube goes up, meter power minus 1 and A m power minus 1. This is the consequent magnetization. So like this we can find out the maximum possible dipole moment and magnetization of the domain. The next concept is BH curve of a ferromagnetic material. Of a ferromagnetic material or a ferromagnet. The unique property of the ferromagnet is, in the absence of external magnetic field also, retentivity takes place in the ferromagnet. Retentivity means the residual magnetic field, means the magnetization still persists in the absence of external magnetic field. This is called BH curve. So this property is called magnetic persistence. This magnetic persistence we can prove with the help of BH curve. The BH curve will be like this. So along x-axis we are taking H, along y-axis we are taking B, where H is in A by M units, where B is in Tesla, we know that. So whenever initially, internally, if a substance unmagnetized completely, and that unmagnetized substance placed inside the solenoid, first is unmagnetized, second the same unmagnetized is placed inside the solenoid. Whenever an unmagnetized substance placed inside the solenoid, then what we can understand is its magnetic behavior going to change. So depictly we can expect a curve, and its magnetization will increase and reaches to a saturation level. From there onwards, what we can understand is, afterwards, if you remove the magnetic field, so completely it won't come to the zero very quick moment. It takes a lot of time to come to the zero because of persistence of the magnetic field in the absence of external electric field, external magnetic field. So how it will be look like, we are going to see. So this is the BH curve or retentivity curve. An unmagnetized substance which is placed inside the solenoid, suppose if it is a ferromagnetic in nature, then slowly the domains will align in a particular direction. When it is aligning, its net magnetic moment is going to change in a positive cycle. Then the maximum intensity will take place, so H value will increase and it reaches to a saturation level. So when this magnetization or H value reaches saturation level, so it won't increase it further. After reaching the saturation level, this saturation is appeared by OA curve. Increasing H and saturation. At H is equal to 0, B is not equal to 0 while it is reversing. So what we can understand is, after increasing to the particular saturated level, then we turned off the magnetic field. After turning the magnetic field, what we can understand is the domains will align in the opposite direction and magnetization will coming to 0 and negative scales to 0. So this curve, APC curve, AB, reverse order. While it is coming down in the absence of external magnetic field, this AB is giving the decrease in the magnetic field, linearly decreasing. When it is linearly decreasing, at one particular point H is equal to 0, B is not equal to 0. B is somewhat some 1.0 to 1.5. We can approximate that value 1.2 Tesla. So if H is equal to 0, B is not equal to 0 and this value is equal to 1.2 Tesla. This is called retentivity. What is the meaning of retentivity? In the absence of external magnetic field, still there persists a magnetic moment. This is called retentivity. So that's why this B is not equal to 0, 1.2 Tesla is also called BR is equal to 1.2 Tesla. So magnetization field of retentivity is equal to 1.2 Tesla. Afterwards, it is coming down. At H is equal to 0, you can expect a value at C. So this value which lies in between 0 to minus 100. The value of C at H is equal to 0 is called coercivity. The value of C at H is equal to 0 is called coercivity. Then it slows down, crosses minus 100, reaches to D. So this is the positive curve, increasing saturation point. So field was turned off, then the domains are aligning in the reverse direction and fasten up. So it is crossing many other points and coming to D. So from this D onwards, we can increase the slope again. So this is called BH curve. And this BH curve gives the nature of the ferromagnetic substance. Means what is the retentivity of the ferromagnet, what is the coercivity of the ferromagnet. These values, if you want to know, this BH curve is very, very important. So if you use the hard ferromagnets, which can persist the magnetic field for a long time, we will get the BH curve in an expanded mode. If we get the soft ferromagnetic material to do this experiment, so we should not expect this curve which is in the reverse order, because the reverse order also merges with the increasing line. So this is called hysteresis loop. BH curve, and one more is called hysteresis loop. Hysteresis means lagging behind. So like this, we can understand this BH curve. The next concept is permanent magnets and electromagnets. Permanent magnets means if you see the ferromagnetic material which has the high retentivity, means which can keep the magnetic field for a long time, which cannot lose easily, those are called hard ferromagnetic materials. In other words, it is said to be permanent magnets. High retentivity of ferromagnetic materials. So high retentivity of ferromagnetic materials which can able to store the magnetic field for a long interval of time, so those are called as permanent magnets, in other words. If this is the case, how to make these permanent magnets? In ancient days, they will take a rod. They took a rod, mostly in China, at the time of 400 BC. These are the persons who exploited this magnetism in a commercial way. They took one metal rod and they hammered that metal rod by keeping that rod in a north-south direction. So this is a rod of cylindrical shape, and they hammered this rod by keeping in a north-south direction. So like this, it can made like a magnet. It can act like a magnet. But how much long time it can withstand with the magnetism, it can store the magnetism, which this information will be given by its BH curve. So how much retentivity it is showing, how much coercitivity it is showing, maybe it is a iron, steel, or whatever may be the other materials. If whose coercitivity is more, those materials are the best materials to manufacture the permanent magnets. Olden days, if you want to listen any matter, audio cassettes were used. Nowadays we are using CDs, DVDs, Blu-ray disc. These all are made up of ferromagnets, which can keep the information in a electromagnetic wave form, then the data cannot be lost easily. The ferromagnetic materials, the best example of the ferromagnetic material is external or internal hard disks of a system, a computer system. Those are also made up of ferromagnets. So it cannot be erasable easily because it's a coercitivity. So if you want to get a good magnet, which is a permanent magnet for a long run use, we should check its coercitivity and retentivity. Aspect of these 2 points, iron, cobalt, these are all the materials we can use as permanent magnets. Electromagnets are different. Electromagnets means the magnetic materials which are made by passing the electric field through it. Suppose an unmagnetized substance which is placed inside a solenoid, and through the solenoid if you pass some amount of current, the rod which is placed inside the electromagnet will be magnetized, but it is for short interval of time. So internally we should take a solenoid, and these are the number of windings placed on a solenoid. Internally we should keep an unmagnetized substance, and these windings, so they are connected to a battery. So like this. Whenever some amount of AC current or DC current, instead of this we can use this symbol also. It is nothing but the AC current. This is DC. Whenever some amount of AC current is passing through these electromagnets, means solenoids, this alternation of or the alternative direction of AC current can produce the magnetic field for this material. So AC electric field, alternatively variable, which can produce the magnetic field or magnetization in this material. So these materials mostly soft materials, soft ferromagnets like soft iron. So this soft iron is useful in transformer, which can allow the mutual induction, which has low retentivity. If this retentivity is high, means it could not persist the magnetic field inside it after the removal of the field. So that's why the transformers will used to work as the mutual inductors from one coil to the another coil. So because of this property, this soft nature, this will used in some soft electrical objects like electric bells, the mic diaphragms, next calling bells, mouth speakers. These are all the examples where we are using these electromagnets. So these electromagnets should have this low retentivity, which can keep decreasing the current, eddy currents. Because if eddy currents are removed in nature, then only the dissipation of heat energy will be decreases. Then the functioning of this transformer core will be very good. So which can withstand with eddy currents. This point is also so important in case of soft magnetic materials. So these are all the examples. So electromagnetic means the magnets which are made up of passing through the electric field. Means when an electric field is passed through a conductor, that conductor will act as a magnet. The best example we can say that if it is a rod, if this rod is connected to a battery, means some AC current is better because that alternative current which can be for the long time. When an AC current is passing through a rod like this, if you place a magnetic strip or a pin or a small another magnetic material, it will be attracted, sticks. Once you remove the field, it will fall down. So we can understand that if AC current is passing through the conducting materials, it will act as a electromagnet. So it will be a temporary magnetism. Suppose there is a loss in the shape, fell down or heated, there is a possibility for the loss of electromagnetism. So the magnetism can be preserved by avoiding the heat, by avoiding the physical stress on the magnet. Then we can keep these magnets for our use. So like this we can understand the magnetism and magnetic materials. So in this lesson we have discussed about the different magnetic substances, their examples and their uses, and the different terminologies which are useful to find out or to locate the geographical meridian of the magnetic field. So like this we can understand this lesson.